Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome. Welcome one and all. I am ever so grateful that you have joined me today on yet another magical day on our beautiful planet. I want you to all remember that you are magicians. You are the ones creating your own individual reality. And one of the things that I have seen been coming up a whole lot lately, especially in my clients. And also there's been, actually, Brandon played a flashback episode last week that had something to do with this, and also a Facebook group question also asking about this, which is about our children and how we are programmed as individuals between the years of 0 and 7. And that the rest of our lives, what we try to do is undo a lot of that programming, to clear all of that old stuff that we took on as a little one from that little one's mind and have stuck really deep down into our energy bodies as adults. And often we don't even realize that that's what it is. But I don't think I know a single person who hasn't had to deal with some sort of issue in their life, energetically, emotionally, that has to do with something involving their parents. No matter how awesome your parents are or how unbelievably terrible your parents are, everyone's learning. We are here to experience, and we chose our parents for a certain experience, for a certain lesson. And so I want to get into all of this today, and I want to get into a few different sources like I like to do. But before I really get into it, I want to remind everyone, if you didn't hear on Tuesday's episode, that I am doing a workshop coming up in November. And I'm really excited about this because for the first time, I'm going to be taking a big block out of my schedule and not doing sessions so I can work with you all individually and in groups. So I'm going to be doing a 4-week program where we'll be meeting one-on-one individually each week and also in the group. And what we're going to be doing is, the title of the workshop is called Igniting Your Magic, because my goal for this workshop is to teach you to do just that. So all the details and what we're going to do, I'm going to put up on my website this weekend. And everyone who has already reached out to me about being interested, you are going to get an email from me with that link before I put it out live to everyone else so that you have first dibs. So if anyone else is interested and would like to be on that first dib list, then send me an email at Erica, ERICA, at positivehead.com. And then you will hear from me by, Sunday evening, Monday morning at the latest. And you'll have all the details. So back to what we're talking about today, you guys. It has been almost every single client that I have seen, and it doesn't matter how old the person is. They could be 20, 40, 60, 80, 99. Every single person is still carrying things that they learned from their parents. things that got stuck within their system from those years from 0 to 7. Those are extremely important developmental years. And the thing is about that is that in those years, we are thinking as a child. But what happens is when we turn into an adult, we don't really realize that that energy that we're holding within us is coming from that place of us still thinking like a child. And so one of the ways that we can work through it, understand it, and ultimately learn to let it go is by looking at your inner child, talking to your inner child from the adult perspective that you have now. Just as if you were to talk to your own child, your own niece or nephew, your grandchild, any child that you would come across that was in need, that was hurting. How would you talk to that child? How would you help that child reframe whatever is going on in their life? Because usually what people are dealing with from their parents that they're carrying throughout their entire lifetimes are issues of trust, of safety, of not good enoughness, of having to live up to other people's expectations, of having to do certain things just so I can be accepted and loved. And I think that there's not a single person listening who can't resonate with one of those things. And you know what? Every single one of us and our parents, because I'm a parent, anyone else out there is listening that's a parent, I know I've made mistakes as a parent. And I also know that all of our parents were doing the best that they could, just like we are doing the best that we can. There is not a single one of us here that is perfect or that I think will achieve perfection. I don't think that that's the point of this lifetime. We're here to learn. And if we were perfect, we wouldn't be here anymore. We'd be done. We would have no more learning to learn. And so perfection is an impossible goal. Every single one of us is imperfect in our own beautiful ways. And because of that, we're going to make mistakes. But the beauty of that is that we get to learn. And that is what our children come here to teach us. Lessons. Every single one of our children come to teach us. We came to teach our parents, and our children come to teach us. We learn in this life through our relationships with our loved ones. These are relationships that trigger us the most because these are the things that we programmed for ourselves before we came in to this lifetime. These are the lessons that we came to learn. We chose our parents and our siblings for that very reason. And sometimes it depends on what your soul's progression looks like. But sometimes we don't actually choose. It gets chosen for us by our guides. Before we actually have a soul level of understanding where we can do the choosing, then we have a lot of help. And they put us in the perfect situation so that we can learn that next step so that we can further our soul's growth. That's the whole point. So here's a little blurb about this from the Law of One, and it says, those souls who are aware of the process of evolution choose before incarnation the means in which catalyst has the greatest probability of being gained. The first agreements are made with the parents and siblings. Then other programs are put into place with other entities. These agreements provided and will provide, in your time, space, and space-time continuum, opportunities for the experiential catalyst of work and camaraderie-ship. There are events planned that are possibilities having to do with society, standards of living, social climate, and legal relationships. And so basically what that means is that the first thing that we decide on is what type of environment are we going to put ourselves in when we come in here? What type of environment is going to be the best that's going to suit this lesson, this learning process that I am here to learn, that I am here to do? And so, for example, let's take one like self-worth or self-love. And so if you wanted to learn this lesson or refine this lesson, then maybe you would choose a parent who put you down a lot or told you weren't good enough or set such high expectations from you that you could never really live up to them. And then, as you went on in life, you picked a partner who made you feel the same way, and coworkers and friends. And this pattern then reiterated in your life until you understood it, until you understood that, oh, all right, I am being shown through all of these people around me what my lesson is. This is not an easy thing to learn because obviously we're learning the hard way when we're learning lessons like this. But when we can look around and see the patterns in our life, we can really understand what our lesson then is. And what's so important about understanding these things that happen to us as a child in between those years, those very early years, and sometimes even after, it doesn't have to be just those early years. It's all of growing up, really. It's just that those years are so significant. But what happens is most of this is seated within our root chakra, that the core of our matrix almost, this like baseline blueprint of what we know and how we understand the world. It sits there. And so sometimes we feel unsafe or that we can't trust or that we're unworthy. That one actually deals with other chakras, but it still ties in. It all ties into the familial roots, which is in your root. And what's so important about the root chakra is that it is the foundation of all of the others. And so really taking a good look at the relationship with your parents, at the relationship with your children, because they're teaching you just as much as you are learning from your parents and vice versa. So we can really take a good look at that and try to understand it, and then look at it from a different lens. Take a step outside and talk to your inner child about it and see if you can come up with a new way of looking at it. So for example, a lot of my clients will have a certain issue with their parents, like they couldn't trust them. They never felt like they could trust their parent. And their higher self is always saying, they were very trustworthy. It just didn't seem that way to you. Or they loved you very much. They just didn't know how to express it because their parents didn't know how to express it to them, and so forth. And so, again, every single parent is always doing the best that they can. And so when we can offer a little bit of compassion for the humanness of them, in our childlike selves, we expect our parents to be perfect. They should do no wrong. But that is not true because they're humans just like us. And we learn that when we become parents ourselves. But if we don't become parents ourselves, then that's a little harder to grasp. But you can still teach yourself this concept that all humans are just humans doing the best that they can, all with their beautiful imperfections. These beautiful imperfections that you signed up to learn from. And so, in that respect, we can turn around and be super grateful that our parents were who they were. Because if they weren't who we were, we wouldn't be who we are. And so, how to help our own children to not have these types of energetic blockages and hold on to these types of feelings of mistrust or not feeling worthy or not feeling loved. And I think a lot of us have that one down. Loving our kids is really, really easy. And showing them that we're always there for them. I think that's a really big one. Knowing that they always know that if they need us, that we are here. What it says in Dolores Cannon's book, Jesus and the Essenes, about children. And I love this book because what she's asking about to her client here was about Jesus when he was a child. And she was very curious about the children's bodies and what children understand. And she asked the question about when children stop being open and if their bodies physically have anything to do with closing off. And the answer was, a lot of times it is upon the reaching of maturity, but a lot of the closing off as children is done not by the children or by anything that their bodies are doing, but by others, and forces that are pressing and oppressing them. For in telling them that they have done something foolish, this is one of the worst things that you can do to a child. For they will then think that everything that they do is foolish, because a child take things very literally. They must believe in themselves. And what that makes me think of, when my daughter was little, I used to always call her silly. When she would do something, off the wall or silly, I would call her silly. And I thought it was fun and playful. And I read this, and I really hope that I didn't make her think that she was foolish and that everything that she did was foolish, because children do take things literally in that mind of a little child. And so now I'm going to go talk to my daughter and make sure that she doesn't think that I think that she is foolish or silly, because we don't even realize, this is what I meant earlier, we really don't even realize some of the damage that we actually do to our children, to our friends, that our parents even did to us. It can be so, so subtle. And it can also relate to the different things that we brought into this incarnation, things that have to do with our lessons. So maybe they hit us a little harder. What the Law of One says about children is that the entity, the child or adult, as you call it, is not an instrument to be played. The appropriate teach-learning device of parent to child is the open-hearted beingness of the parent and the total acceptance of the beingness of the child. This will encompass whatever material the child entity has brought into the life experience in this plane. There are two things especially important in this relationship other than the basic acceptance of the child by the parent. Firstly, the experience of whatever means the parent uses to worship and give thanks to the one infinite creator, to source, to God, whatever you want to call it, should, if possible, be shared with the child entity upon a daily basis, as you would say. Secondly, the compassion of parent to child may well be tempered by the understanding that the child entity shall learn the biases of service to others or the service to self from the parental other self. This is the reason that some discipline is appropriate in the teach learning. This does not apply to the activation of any one energy center, for each entity is unique and each relationship with self and other self doubly unique. The guidelines are only given for this general reason. And what's beautiful about that is that that just reiterates the idea that we all learn from one another, that these relationships are so important because they teach us so much about ourselves, and then we also have the opportunity to offer another being total acceptance. When we can totally accept ourselves, then we can better teach our children to do the same, because they learn from our example. They learn whether they're going to be of service to others or if they're going to be only in service to themselves. They learn that by watching us, by just observing, by seeing our mannerisms, by watching our reactions to things. I know most of you can understand that we become our parents, and I watch my little daughter turn into me. And so when we are more self-aware within ourselves, then we can be better parents. We can be more accepting of exactly who they are, whenever they are. And we can do that for each other. And that's so, so important. So last thing I'll say is just a little reminder to go and talk to your inner child and try to reframe, give a different perspective from your adult mind, from the mind of a parent that can look at that situation a little differently, knowing that your parent did the best that they could. And you can be grateful for that opportunity of learning and forgive them because they were doing the best that they could. They didn't know any better. That's all they knew how. So forgiveness comes a little easier when you understand that they just didn't know any better. So go on and give that inner child of yours a really, really big hug and show them so much love. And allow yourself to release all of that old programming, that old baggage that is not serving you on your path forward. You can learn your lesson. You can understand it and leave it. You learned it. You can take the wisdom with you and leave the woe behind. I love you all so much. I'm going to leave you with a song for today. This is Wookiefoot, Monster Hugs. Until next time, I love you all.
Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.
To my son, I haven't met. I need to warn you that we're gonna be best friends. Thick or thin, sink or swim, lose or win. We can battle in the castle with the dragon. Hop back in our rocket ship into the sky. We're gonna cry till we laugh and laugh till we cry. You and I, you arrive right on time. Try to slow it down, the skills roll by. And by the way, there's gonna be some times I'll have to go away just for a little while. But while I'm gone, don't be scared when that darkness comes. Always remember that when there's monsters under your bed, don't be afraid, son, know that it's all in your head. When you've had enough, turn around, track them down, go give that monster some love. Go give that monster a hug. There's gonna be some days when there's gray clouds, so we can be amazed. When the sun's out, see our scary shadows, we just laugh at them, not run away. We'll just learn how to dance with them. I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous that I'm gonna try, but I'll never be a perfect dad. Just a clown in this circus of circumstance, lost on this crazy planet, but I'll just keep working at it. There's gonna be some times I'm gonna let you down, I'm gonna mess it up, but I can promise now you can always find I'm right there by your side. When there's monsters under your bed, don't be afraid, son, know that it's all in your head. When you've had enough, turn around, track them down, go give that monster some love. Go give that monster some love. Go give that monster a hug. Son, I haven't met. I need to warn you that we're gonna be best friends. Thick or thin, sink or swim, lose or win. At the end of the day, we can just fly away.
Daddy, Monster Nursery to friends.